Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Today's video is the Dell M17 R3. No, it's not deja vu. I know I just did the M15, but this actually had a deal going on right now. And so it is different spec, a little less a premium as it relates to the specs inside of it. I'll show you what those are a little bit later in the video, but let's take a look at this. This is going to be an unboxing and first impressions video. So let's roll. All right, let's open this one up. Wow, there it is there. So this one is the Lunar Light model. Wow. Definitely heavier than the M15, but not too much. I think this is probably tipping the scales at maybe 6.5 pounds. I love unboxing new laptops. So this one features a magnesium alloy. So that's supposed to give it additional cooling properties, but also additional lightweight. And then it does have a clear coat. And so this is a hard finish that's on it, but it's supposed to give advantages to fingerprints, being that it's supposed to be more fingerprint resistant than most of the units that are out there. So let's take a peek at the ports on this unit. So right off the right-hand side, we have our SD card reader, of course our two USB 3 exhaust port, and then on the right-hand side, we have our killer Ethernet 2.5 gig, another USB 3, and then our combo headphone and mic port. And then on the back side, we of course have our two exhaust ports, and then we have our HDMI out, DisplayPort out, our USB-C connector. This is a charge port as well as Thunderbolt. And then we have our graphics amplifier port, so you can plug in an external graphics card. And of course we have our power plug. So let's take a look at what's inside the rest of the box. Looks like we got some manuals. We already looked at those last time, so we don't need to do that. And then we of course have our 240 watt power supply. What's nice about this one though is it has these feet on the bottom. So if you have it on a flat surface, it's not sliding around on you. So I found that's actually quite nice. And of course we have our power cable. Almost identical to the M15. It does have dual speakers on either side. So you got your dual firing underneath speakers and then your two front firing. This gives you great positional audio, which in the M15 I found was really, really nice. And then we have this kind of piano black finish on the front. So let's open this up and see what it looks like. Oh, that one finger open, not happening today. All right. Wow, looks great. So being that it's the 17-inch model, it does have the full numpad on the right-hand side. And then we also have a great glass precision touchpad. Feels already really nice. And the keyboard itself has 1.7 millimeters of key travel. This is one of the best keyboards that I've tested. Okay, and so in terms of specs on this unit, this one is the 10th generation Intel i7-10750H. So that's a hexa-core, so 6 cores, 12 threads, going up to 5.1 gigahertz. Has 16 gigs of dual channel memory at 2666 megahertz, a 1 terabyte SSD NVMe, and then also features a 2070 Super. This is not the Max Q edition, so this should actually be able to push above any of the Max Qs that I reviewed over the last month. So I'm pretty excited to see how well this actually does in some gaming benchmarks later on. And then of course, this has a 17.3 inch 1080p 300 hertz 3 millisecond response time screen. That's supposed to give you up to 100% of the sRGB, and so it should look great in this form factor. Of course, the wireless is a 2x2 killer wireless, and then also has, like I mentioned earlier, the 2.5 gig killer E3000 series NIC. So a couple things unique about the 2020 models. So the R3 editions, they do feature on the Intel spec a 12-phase voltage regulation. So that's supposed to ensure premium performance. It also has the cryo-cool version 3. So what does that mean at the end of the day? Well, it has a vapor chamber for the CPU and heat pipes for the GPU. So this should give us, again, a great balance of thermal dissipation across the unit. Couple that with the magnesium alloy that it has. That's nice and cool to the touch. Great feeling overall. I'm super excited to see how well this performs. This unit also features a 86 watt-hour battery. I do anticipate this is actually going to perform worse than the M15, just being that it does have a larger screen to actually power. So we'll see how that actually does in some benchmarks later on. So let's power it on. We've got the great RGB key all the way through. This is per key RGB. All right, so the one of the things I've noticed actually about the RGB keyboard, so this is a per key RGB 1.7 millimeter travel, but when it is lit up, I have seen some inconsistency just around the actual the coloring coming through on the keys. Now, all the primary keys are lit up appropriately. It's not quite consistent all the way through. So what I found is the keyboard is actually quite nice. It's not as quiet as the MSI GE66, but it does have a good sound to it. Listen. So not overly loud and still really decent. Of course, once it powers on, we got this nice blue, Dell blue keyboard that joins us. And then of course on the back, we have the great LED bar. This is one of the best designs I find in terms of this year's models. Couple that with the lunar light, but it's more kind of like an off-white, so it's got a matte look to it. I don't know if you can actually pick that up. It does look quite good from that perspective. And of course on the bottom side, we of course have the two speaker ports, and then our honeycomb design that houses both fans for the CPU and the GPU on either side. So the other thing about this is that it has really solid construction. There's hardly any flex in the chassis at all, which is really nice. And unfortunately, it doesn't have the one finger open. Like that's not going to work for it. But it does have minimal flex in the screen because of the metal finishing here. So it does give it some good rigidity, which is nice to see. So in terms of the webcam itself, it is a 720p webcam, so similar to the M15, unfortunately. It doesn't have Windows Hello, which is really a shame for a premium notebook. You'd think they just add that in. It's really nice to have in terms of just being able to securely unlock your device. So you are kind of left to logging in with a password or possibly a PIN. This thing is beast mode though, really. Like this thing's massive. But you know what? Overall, it is quite thin. Like when you think about how much they packed into this unit, it is fairly thin overall, which is nice to see. All right, so that wraps up the Alienware M17 R3. Thanks for watching. I'll post the link to the notebook in the description down below. Please like and subscribe to the channel. Love to hear from you. Please let me know what you think of the video and also what you'd like me to include in the review coming in the next few days. That's it for me, guys. Till next time, bye for now.